I want to show you what was in Richard's diary.
Today I spent all my money on new pom-poms because I'm a big boy, and I want to go to the tryouts even if my mom says that
cheerleading is for fit people, not kids whose feet don't get wet in the shower.
One of Richard's goals as a kid was to be a cheerleader, and while not a dream of mine, I know that why Richard failed at it is something that you've gone through, something that I've gone through, and by the end of this video, I want to speak about what makes this kind of trauma really difficult to overcome. But first, why did Richard fail to be a cheerleader?
Richie, stop. It's gonna be like that time you tried horse riding.
I want to be like that, Mama. A flyer. It's my dream.
Ah, don't dream too big, baby. Success doesn't run in the Watterson family.
These simple words of not dreaming big have done so much damage to people, including myself. And when I watched this episode, so many people came to mind when I hear the words, don't dream too big. It makes me think of people in my life, whether on purpose or not, had this habit of letting me know that I shouldn't want anything big. I should be happy with just existing. Over my 20s, this has made me feel frustration, anger, resentment, hatred, all of these very intense feelings, and it took wrestling with the deeper reason why there's so many Granny JoJos in the world for me to not react as strongly when I'm around it anymore. And this episode is the best I've seen that explains that. In my late teens and early 20s, I truly feared becoming someone like Richard, not just on the outside, but the inside.
I didn't even bother trying to make the team because Mama taught me an important lesson that day.
Dreams are impossible, and desires are pointless.
Hearing how Richard's dreams were crushed would break Gumball and Darwin's heart. Was Richard unfit for such an intense sport? Maybe so. But this is the same man who would go on to do physically impressive feats for his family later on in life. The reason why I feared being Richard on the inside can be seen when Darwin tries to get Richard to look within, and we see all of the monsters and demons that he masks with a smile every day. It makes me think about how so many people, friends of mine, can wake up one day, ready to take on the world, do that passion project, and you hear the right sequence of words, and now you don't want to do anything. What's crazy is that it's not even usually from a stranger. Like with Richard, it could be from family, it could be from friends, people who you're supposed to look for support. Richard has done a fantastic job of not pushing a lot of it onto his kids, and Gumball, who's seeing this for the first time, is confused as to what is even happening right now.
What was that?
Intergenerational trauma! It means the bad that happened to the people before we were born being dumped onto us, from our parents all the way to our furthest ancestors.
It isn't a secret that Granny JoJo is not a ray of sunshine. I think it's a great detail that Nicole also looks away because she also has dealt with a lot of that growing up. Miss Simeon has put down Nicole all throughout her childhood, and it's interesting because she's dealt with no validation from Miss Simeon, yet a comically infinitely high standard set by her parents. I think it's also important to note that Richard obviously is not happy to have listened to his mother and not follow any of his dreams. I don't tend to meet people who are happy that the people in their lives limited their potential and stomped on their dreams and then listened to them. But what's even more important to note is that Granny JoJo also had someone do that to her.
Dreams are stupid.
Girls can't do that.
Yeah, only boys are intelligent enough to invent genius things like plastic, honey.
I love the smell of asbestos in the morning.
And I struggled with that a lot in my 20s. You're very angry at the people who view you this way, and it's hard to truly grasp and understand that if circumstances were different, they would be a completely different person, and they wouldn't do that to you. And it's even harder to not be upset and angry when you think about people older than you, because as kids, we believe that people older than us generally know more than us, or at least have experienced more than us, and should have conquered these demons. And the terrible thing about this kind of trauma is that I very rarely see people outgrow it by themselves. In fact, if anything, if you're told these kind of things all your life, you may not even think there's other ways to view things like dreams. Whereas Nicole took that jump and left her parents and decided to work hard at what she wanted, that led to a big fight that I discussed when I talked about the parents. But that's Nicole. Richard kind of had that, but he loves Granny JoJo and had all this time. The part that makes this difficult is that oftentimes people who do say these things about you, they do mean well and they do love you. They're telling you what was told to them, and they may love their parents that limited their dreams too. Sometimes they just don't truly understand that when people behave like this, it's not healthy.
Say I'm worthy, Dad.
I'm
Not.
Oh, is there a cure?
Believe it or not, there's a lot of things you could do to get out of this mindset, but they aren't easy. One of the aspects that I enjoyed that this episode did is that his family was there to push him through it, but also that Richard did not bounce back quickly. This is a middle-aged man who's been fed decades of being told that he's not worth much. Plus, we can't avoid the reality that he's not fit. He's lazed around so long that he turned a completely different man's life around by out-lazying him, which I also covered on the channel. And luckily for Richard, he does have a family that's going to cheer him through the trials and failures that it takes to actually do something that requires a lot of effort. He tries skateboarding, riding a roller coaster, horseback riding, and bungee jumping, partially because they're big things to do, but also to build confidence to see that you can do these things. All of them fail in pretty funny ways, but it's what Darwin does here that I think is super important.
I'm kind of expecting the bridge to... Oh.
This isn't working at all. Those demons from the past won't die easy.
So what I've noticed is that there's roughly 3 types of people when you try things out. The people who criticize you, the people who cheer you through it, and then everyone else who's most likely indifferent to it. Most of us can easily find the first kind of people, but not the second. To Darwin's point, the demons don't go away after an afternoon's worth of confidence. So imagine you manage to see the light, you try something after not trying things for a long time, but you don't have a Darwin in your life. How do you think that would go? I don't have to imagine that, because that was me. That was this channel. This channel was a decade's worth of don't dream big and don't try anything that I had to overcome without a Darwin. I think about a decade ago, 18-year-old Jay. He didn't have a Nicole, Annie, Easter gumball. He had a bunch of Granny JoJo's. I think about 20-year-old Jay, where after grinding for months and months on a channel that none of his friends supported him on, he gets to meet one of the people who inspired him, one of the people in this community, one of the people who is the reason why I'm here right now. And what's the first thing that person tells him? I don't want to talk about cartoons anymore. I'm done with this. And then he retired. At 20, I looked at this man as a GOAT in this community, and I saw the dream die in his eyes. I think about 24-year-old Jay, when things turned around and he had a group of friends that said things like, I don't care about what you do. I don't watch you. I don't support you. So many times when I had to tackle feeling exactly how Richard feels after an afternoon of trying things.
Stop putting yourself down.
Sometimes you get so used to thinking that you're not enough that you just...
Can't even finish a sentence.
And I understand that some people may look at, what I've done here and call it luck, and even if it is on some aspects, I still had to post another video. I still had to try and evolve what I do. I could have easily believed the people around me and just stopped and figured that maybe I'm not meant for these things. These are people who were, in other ways, caring for me a lot. These are people that loved me. That's what made handling the stress of it so difficult, because while these people who are close to me said these things to me, they would then game with me or speak about shows or do other things and bond with me in positive ways in these other areas of my life. Well, it's easy to paint Granny JoJo as a monster, and it's easy to paint the people who say these things that she says as bad people. When I bonded with the people close to me, you start to realize that for some of them, they had to deal with exactly what they're telling me, but they never got over the gap of actually overcoming it. Or maybe they're still in the gap of battling if it's worth it to even try. So is Granny JoJo a bad person for failing to get over that gap when she was a child? Or the people who are close to me bad people because they had probably 20 to 40 people throughout their childhood and their life fail them in that way? I didn't want to view the people in my life that way. And that, in a way, helped me to stop being angry and frustrated and sad whenever these messages was given to me, because I try to understand it in many ways. They didn't have people who they needed to prevent them from feeling that way. So this may be the only way that they know how. I knew that if I'm still alive and I'm still doing this, that I should still do this, because one day I can be like Nicole or Gumball or Anais or Darwin in this scene here.
Why are you doing all this for me?
Because we love you, Mr. Dad. The problem is he's the only one who could give that confidence to himself. But how can you give something you don't have?
At first, Anais tries to give Richard a lucky charm that she sells as a guarantee that he'll do fine at cheerleading tryouts. Richard himself is anxious about it, partially because he doesn't want to fail his family. He's aware that they're trying so hard with him, even if he doesn't know why, and even this may be relatable to some people. I know people even around me who can't even fathom why I care so much about them trying and them putting effort into things. They can't even imagine someone wanting to do that for them. In a callback to the season 1 episode The Meddler, we have Mr. Smalls and Principal Brown as the judges for cheerleading tryouts, except rather than Gumball doing it as a wacky gesture towards Penny, Richard is finally getting an attempt to satisfy that child in him. He clings onto this inanimate object as the sole reason he believes in himself, and this gives him enough confidence to pursue his dream. He's not great, but that doesn't matter. I think you'd be deluded to believe that Richard could become a great cheerleader overnight. But what does matter is that in this episode, he got over the gap of just trying. And it takes a lot to get over that gap. Nicole and Anais cheer him on, while Gumball and Darwin directly help him with his dance routine. Unfortunately, when things appear to be going great, that's when they hit the lowest of lows. Granny JoJo is in the audience, yet no one invited her. Just the sight of her breaks Richard and triggers the feelings that she's been giving him over the years, specifically about doing something like this. You also get to hear her side about how she feels about all of this.
I like sports tryouts the most. For some reason, seeing others fail miserably makes me feel better about my own mistakes.
Is it messed up? Yes. Is it not the healthiest way to view things? Yes. But do I believe most people have this person around them, or may even be that person? Yes. I don't even think Granny JoJo is doing it necessarily out of malice. I think, again, for some people, it's legitimately the only way they can view something, because for decades, several people instilled this viewpoint onto them. Richard tries to stand up for himself with the lucky charm, but she tells the truth about what it is, and now he soaks in the lost hope, which is a powerful visual. You get to see all the people who failed him, and all the people who failed all the people who failed him, and so on. For a lot of people, even people older than me, that's where their story is currently. How Richard gave up here? That may be where a lot of people's stories end. They didn't have a Gumball and Darwin pushing them through these low lows. They believed what was told to them. And now at 28, I think about 18-year-old Jay a lot, and how there could have been a bad evening, or maybe I met someone who I became close to who didn't give me the best of messages, where there could have been several moments where I just stopped. The things I would give today to have someone like 28-year-old Jay be like, no, finish that. No, you will bounce back. Don't listen to them. They're losers. We're gonna do this together. I'm gonna help you figure this out. All throughout watching this episode, it has made me think that had I just had one person like that, like 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago, like the things I would be able to do earlier. It's why sometimes when the people around me get into a mindset like Richard, I almost wanna reach through the screen and like grab them and shake them and go, I didn't have someone like me telling you to finish this story. I didn't have someone like me who bought you the game that you wanted to try. I didn't have someone like me who would help you figure out how to start this new thing. I didn't have someone like me who would sit in a VC for you with hours and hours and help you until you finish this thing. I didn't have an older brother. I didn't have a best friend who was supportive of me in that way. I didn't have a successful YouTuber as a friend that was willing to help. I didn't have someone like me. And I still don't have someone like me. And maybe if I'm persistent about pushing you, and maybe if I'm always pushing for you to do these things, maybe it's because that's what I really needed 10 years ago. And what makes me frustrated is that deep down, I don't think anyone truly gets that. And I've matured to understand that maybe those monsters within them are very strong. So I try as much as I can so that one day, maybe this could be them. Richard finds the fire to complete his cheerleading training, actually doing a lot better than before, because he has something that's real. He has the support and love from people who love him and truly want him to be better than even what he may see. I even like the line where Granny JoJo goes,
That's my Richard.
and Nicole corrects her by saying,
That's our Richard.
because Richard needed someone outside of Granny JoJo to do something like this. But also, in the same way that Richard loves Granny JoJo truly loves Richard too. Again, not malicious, just ignorant and in that cycle. So before I might have said that The Job was my favorite Richard episode, and I still enjoyed that episode a lot, it would still be an S-tier Richard episode, but I think this episode is my favorite just by a hair. But if you want to see what was my favorite Richard-centric episode, you can check it out right here.